We're going to talk about some free agent signings. I know this is the best part of the year for all of us NBA fans. I've been excited for it, and I know you have too. Free agent signings that I love. You got KD and Kyrie going to Brooklyn. Great pickups for Brooklyn. Obviously, KD's going to be out for a year, but you still get one of the top 3 players in the NBA for below max. You get Kyrie Irving, second best player on the Cavaliers team from the championship years. You have DeAndre Jordan, not a big fan of the signing, but we'll get to that later. You have on that team still Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Taurean Prince, who they just traded for, Jarrett Allen. Those players, perfect role players next to KD and Kyrie. And I'm sure that they're going to get more even in the future. And then you have a new one that just came in, and it is Wesley Matthews to the Bucks. Now that is a way to replace Malcolm Brogdon. He may not be quite as versatile offensively as Malcolm Brogdon, but his defense sure does compare. Also, the Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Lamb signings that the Pacers got, I think they'll be great fits for the Pacers. Brogdon can play the 1 or 2. He can even slide to the 3. That is a perfect player to go along with Oladipo. Combo guard, can play with another combo guard. He can share the defensive responsibilities along with the ball handling responsibilities. Great shooter, was in the 50-40-90 club. One of the only non-star players to ever be in that. Also, Jeremy Lamb. Now, not really a household name. Sure, casual NBA fans should know about him because he was the second best player on the Charlotte Hornets last year. But he averaged 17 points per game. Now, he didn't do it on amazing shooting, but he can shoot the 3 ball, he can shoot the 2 ball. It doesn't matter. He can play defense as well. I think it'll be a great fit next to Oladipo, Sabonis, Miles Turner, and now Malcolm Brogdon. Another one that I really liked was the Bojan Bogdanovic to the Jazz. You have a starting lineup that can consist of Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, Joe Ingles, and Rudy Gobert. That lineup is going to be scary defensively. They even have shooting from the 4 spots besides Rudy Gobert. That is going to be a devastating team. If they can fill out the rest of their roster with high-end role players, it's going to be crazy what they can do next year in the West. Let's talk about some teams that are getting some really good role players that should fit their team's new schemes coming up this next year. Now, I like the DeMarre Carroll signing for the Spurs. I think he's a great player, junkyard dog. He played great for the Hawks a couple years ago, and when he went to Toronto, didn't play amazing, but they resalvaged his career when he went to the Nets. Now, I think playing for Pop, he's going to bring the dog out in him. And also, the Rockets are getting their role players back. Danuel House and Austin Rivers, they need those, along with Gerald Green as well. Those players were pretty big contributors for them this past year. The Thunder are getting Mike Muscala, they're getting Nerlens Noel back, and they're signing Alec Burks. Now, Alec Burks shot decent from 3 last year when he played with the Jazz and when he played with the Cavaliers. His 3-point percentage went very far down the drain when he went to the Kings. But when he was with the Cavaliers, he averaged 11 points per game and shot 38% from 3. When he was with the Jazz, he shot 37% from 3. So I think the Thunder are adding a really great role player to their team. Mike Muscala, he can shoot the 3 ball too. He can play the 4 or 5, and that's what the Thunder have been missing. They're missing that 4-5 that can stretch the floor. That's what Patrick Patterson was supposed to be, but quite frankly, he wasn't. Start with some point guards for the deals I don't like. Now, Ricky Rubio, 3 years, $51 million. That's $17 million a year on average. Now, the Suns finally got the point guard they've been looking for, but it's in an aging veteran, Ricky Rubio. They could have gone out and gotten someone like D'Lo, Malcolm Brogdon. One of those players would fit the timeline of their team so much better than Ricky Rubio. Yeah, Ricky Rubio can teach the young kids a lot of things, but he's not a good shooter unless he can rekindle some of the shooting prowess that he had against the Thunder in the first round of the playoffs a few years ago. Then there's not going to be much shooting on that team besides Devin Booker. Kelly Oubre is not a great shooter. Mikal Bridges, he's an okay shooter. You got DeAndre Ayton sitting in the middle. That's not a great shooting team. And trading away TJ Warren for nothing isn't going to get them much. Cam Johnson, good shooter in college, but we don't know how he's going to turn out. Next, we're going to move on to Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, another player that can't shoot, going to a team that also can't shoot. They were, I'm pretty sure, 29th in the league last season in three-point percentage. You have Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond starting center and power forward. That's going to clog up the middle. The backups, Thonmaker, Zaza Pachulia. There's not much shooting on that team, so the spacing is not going to be there for him to do what he's most effective at, driving and finishing through contact. Next, we have Terry Rozier, my least favorite, besides another player that we'll get to later, my least favorite of the guards. Terry Rozier got a 3-year, $58 million contract. Now, Kemba Walker played 8 seasons with the team. He made $58.7 million through those 8 seasons, and Terry Rozier is going to make $58 million through 3 seasons with the team. Now, if that doesn't tell you how much of a catastrophe this is, then it's crazy. We have Terry Rozier, who, yes, he led the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals a few years ago when Kyrie and Hayward were out, but that was against pretty subpar competition. And he also had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who were his best players this year. Cody Zeller, Marvin Williams, MKG. They don't have much. And I just do not believe in him as a starting point guard. Also, you have the big men. Now, the only really big man that I don't like the signing of is DeAndre Jordan. Why would the Nets go out and sign DeAndre Jordan when they already have Jarrett Allen? Jarrett Allen, I feel, is miles ahead of DeAndre Jordan. Yes, DeAndre Jordan is a former All-Star, former All-NBA player, but Jarrett Allen is better than him at this point in their careers. Now, yeah, DeAndre Jordan can teach him some things, and that can be good for his growth, but I still believe that Jarrett Allen should get the majority of the minutes so they can help him develop. I do get that he's also a really good friend of KD, and that could have persuaded KD to sign there more than it would have if DeAndre didn't go there. So that is also another reason why I can understand it. Another one is the Tobias Harris, Chris Middleton. Now, do I believe these players are max contract players? I do not. No. However, those respective teams, the 76ers and the Bucks, have to pay those to retain those players, because other teams will go out and try to pay those max contracts to steer those players away from those teams, which I'm surprised the Knicks didn't do after their free agency moves. However, Tobias Harris, that's a pretty big overpay for who he's going to be probably their 4th option behind Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Al Horford, possibly even Josh Richardson on some nights. Now, Chris Middleton, second best player on that team. He's a really good player, but I don't think that warrants him getting a max contract. Let's talk about 2 teams that I'm not quite sure what direction they're wanting to go. The Kings and the Knicks. So, we'll start out with the Kings. The Kings signed Dwayne Dedmon, Rashawn Holmes, Trevor Ariza, Harrison Barnes, and Corey Joseph. Those are all fine players. Harrison Barnes, probably an overpay for what he can bring to a team. Trevor Ariza, he's gonna give you what he always gives you: great defense, spot up 3-point shooting. But that came at a pretty big cost, and he's gonna be a backup behind probably Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield. Corey Joseph, that's also an overpay, because he's going to be playing behind De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is going to get the majority of the minutes, and Corey Joseph just isn't good enough of a player. He can't play beside another non-shooting point guard, so I don't think they'll be able to coexist together on the court. Now, they could prove me wrong, but that's what I believe right now. And Dwayne Dedmon, great 3-point shooter at the big position, and can also get you boards and plays defense. But he doesn't fit their system quite as much as he does other teams. He can't run the floor quite as fast as the Kings would like to play because they were the fastest playing team in the league last year. Now, he does fit other ways. When they can get in the half court and just play half court offense, then they can kick it out to him and he can be like their Brook Lopez. Now, Rashawn Holmes, he can be the rim running center that the Kings wanted, and he can replace Willie Cauley-Stein without much taking away. Yeah, he's probably not as good on the defensive end, but he is a rebound machine. He will get you almost every board on the court when he's out there, much like Enes Kanter, Steven Adams. Now, his offensive game is pretty limited. It's more rim running and lobs. He's not going to get you any post moves, any of those kind of offensive plays. Now, I don't know quite what I'd give him because obviously the offseason isn't finished. But with what they've surrounded the team with, some players they can fit, some players are overpays. But we'll just have to go into the season and see what it is. But so far, I don't really like what they're doing with their free agency cap. Now, the Knicks. Oh, brother, the Knicks. The Knicks. Wow. Traded Kristaps Porzingis because they thought they were going to get KD or Kyrie. Didn't get anyone. They signed Julius Randle 3 years, $63 million. I really like that for them because I think Julius Randle is a great player. He can be an all-star next year. I think he will be an all-star this next year. Now, $21 million a year, probably good. He's not quite in his prime yet, but he can be in a few years, or between the time of this contract. But they also signed Taj Gibson and Bobby Portis, 2 other power forwards. So how are they going to do that? They already have Mitchell Robinson at the center position. If they try to play small, you can play the 2 of them, but you can't. You can put them at power forward and center, but you can't move them to the small forward or any of that because none of them are shooters. They also just keep signing role players. Wayne Ellington, Reggie Bullock, and Elfrid Payton. Those players don't fit with these young guys. They're either going to take the minutes away or they're not going to play. And why do you sign players in free agency if you're not going to play them? So I think that, yeah, these players are all great role players, but with the Knicks, why? Now, some people say that the Knicks should have just not signed anybody and taken bad contracts and gotten young guys or picks or something like that, which, yeah, that could have worked, but this is the route the Knicks took. So hopefully what they'll do with this cap space that they've gotten is they'll turn it into, or not cap space, but the free agents that they've used the cap space on, hopefully they'll turn it into, they'll use the players and trade them out to get bad contracts and picks, young players out of it like they would have, but they're also going to get more value out of it because they are trading away good role players that will fit with basically any team. Reggie Bullock can fit on any NBA team out there, same as Wayne Ellington. Elfrid Payton, not so much, but he is a good role player, and I believe they got him on a pretty decent contract. Now, these players are going to take away minutes from the young guys like Dennis Smith, and probably not RJ Barrett, but they're going to take minutes away from Mitch Robinson and Damian Dotson and Alonzo Trier. So we'll just have to see what the Knicks do. Hopefully they don't jeopardize their future too much by not letting these young guys develop.